Okay, I don't even know if I should be doing this as a beer review, but I guess it technically falls into the beer category because they do have ratings on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. But over the summertime, there was a huge surge in popularity of spiked root beer, uh, and specifically this brand called Not Your Father's Root Beer, which you may have seen on social media all over the place. I know here in Pennsylvania, it was just all my friends would post pictures on Facebook and Instagram saying, "Oh, this is like just tastes exactly like root beer," blah blah blah. I didn't do a formal review on it, and I never had an actual bottle of it. I had a small taste of it after having a few beers at the beach over the summer, and I remember it being good, but I didn't really wasn't really able to formulate an opinion on it. So I did get my hands on Not Your Father's Ginger Ale, which is what we're going to review right now. It's a 5.9% ABV herbed spiced beer is what category it falls under, but it's basically a spiked ginger ale. According to the website for the brewery, Small Town Brewery, which is out of Wauconda, Illinois, it's a high intensity of ginger and lemon, a tinge of black currant, and light sweet and flavored with wood attributes in ginger ale. Very interesting. So, Small Town Brewery, we haven't done an actual beer from this brewery. They were basically an unknown brewery until last summer when this hard root beer just surged, as I mentioned. But they are out of Wauconda, Illinois, founded by a guy named Tim Kovac. And he has a big story on the website about his great great grandfather from the 1600s being a captain of a ship in England. That's a pretty cool ancestral story right there. But he was a big gambler too, apparently, his great grandfather. And he won a bet at a high stakes card game, and part of his winnings included a brewery. So his roots of brewing beer can be traced way back to the 1600s, and he kind of got that natural ability, I guess. And here he is, and he hit basically the jackpot gambling with this hard root beer thing, and look how it's taken off. Okay, but we have the ginger ale. We have the Not Your Father's ginger ale, which they're trying to push this as well. It's probably not quite as much of an intrigue as the root beer would be, and I don't think as many people are quite into ginger ale as they are into the root beer. But very interesting stuff. This says, "This is beer flavored with spices. We like to think of it as a refreshing ale brewed with ginger, best served chilled or poured in a glass rather, over ice." Would never do that with beer. So maybe this isn't really beer, but I'm still going to drink it as it is such. This is cold, so there you go. Small Town Brewery makes specialty beers that utilize unique ingredients with an unmistakable taste of nostalgia. Okay, Not Your Father's ginger ale. Now, we did try the Coney Island hard root beer, which I was not impressed by, because I think to make a hard root beer or a hard ginger ale, you want it to taste as authentic as an actual ginger ale with as least alcohol taste to it. You could get the alcohol feel, but you want the least amount of alcohol taste, because as I mentioned in that earlier review for Coney Island, it tastes like someone put a shot of vodka in a root beer, and that's much cheaper than actually buying a case of Coney Island hard root beer. But that was my opinion on that. From what I remember from my one taste of Not Your Father's root beer, it did taste like root beer. So let's see if this tastes like ginger ale. And we're getting a very, ginger ale pour. It looks like ginger ale, maybe not quite as fizzy, and it doesn't have that head bubbling up as much. There's basically very little to no head on this beer, but it looks every bit like a glass of ginger ale. Maybe a little bit of a flat glass of ginger ale is how it looks. A lot of carbonation to it. See if it smells as such. Oh wow. See, I'm used to Canada Dry, Seagrams, that kind of thing, and they have a very distinct kind of aroma to them. This one smells much more fresh, much more gingery, like real gingery, like almost like the pickled ginger that you're served when you get sushi. Yeah, maybe like it's a very gingery, wintry green kind of smell to this beer. So let's get the taste now of Not Your Father's ginger ale. Mm. Different ginger ale taste. Probably a better quality than Canada Dry or Seagram's. Made more authentically. I'm getting a little bit of the currant kind of taste. I'm getting a little bit of a lot of the ginger. Um, Almost like a bubblegummy kind of taste to this beer. And not getting very much alcohol. Like this is 5.9%, so it's not on the higher end of the ABV, but it's still up there in a decent ABV range where you could taste alcohol in some beers. But man, I'm not really getting much of that alcohol taste, which is a good thing. And a decent ginger ale kind of taste. I think for what this beer is, they did a good job. Uh, I really almost expected it to kind of taste like Canada Dry with a shot of vodka in it, which would have not been a good thing. But this is a different, very different tasting beer. I don't think I've ever had ginger ales uh, of this taste before. I'm sure they exist. They're probably the higher end of the money market. But I'm going to give Not Your Father's Ginger Ale for what it is. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's an excellent beer. Would like a little more head to this beer to look more authentically like a ginger ale. But other than that, it looks like ginger ale. Looks a little flat, but I'm not going to add point off of it just because it looks like a flat ginger ale when you pour it in. But taste-wise, just a really good taste. You can really taste the ginger, really taste the currant, and very little alcohol. It doesn't taste like they just put a shot of vodka in it, which is what you want from that. So Coney Island could probably take a hint from Not Your Father's Ginger Ale with the root beer. I'm sure Not Your Father's root beer too. Well, we'll one day when I get my hand on one of the bottles of it, I'll do the root beer too. So that's 9 out of 10 for Not Your Father's Ginger Ale from Small Town Brewery in Wauconda, Illinois.